Hello there, and welcome to another episode of Cutting Through the Bullsht. I am your host, Dr. Stephanie Snyder, and I am a high-performance mentor. Through my unique blend of strategy, mindset, and intuition, I help men and women to cut through the BS in order to create the life and business they desire. So today we're going to go into motherhood mode. I'm going to title it as such so that those of you who don't care so much for that could just kind of peruse on to the next thing, right? So, I'm a different kind of mom. I'm just going to put it that way. I'm not like the cool mom where I'm like my kid's best friend, because I definitely hold them accountable. But I'm a different mom. And for years, I have said to my children, listen, this is my first time being your mom, and this is your first time being my kid. So we're going to screw things up. I'm going to make mistakes, but we're going to learn and grow from it together, right? It's a very, very different perspective for motherhood than I've seen maybe other people do. And so to just kind of do a shameless plug here, the Motherhood Manifesto is for moms going from survival to soul-led motherhood. That program is available to sign up for. We start September 22nd. I cannot freaking wait for this. It is a 30-day program. Current pricing is $777, but that will go up again next week. So if you want to get in at the lower price, definitely check that out. The link will be in the show notes for that program. Again, that is a 30-day program. There'll be weekly lives, Facebook group, all the things. And it's about getting out of survival mode of motherhood and moving into soul-led motherhood, which is what makes me a different mom. So I very, very rarely will take someone else's advice when it comes to my kids. Oftentimes I will talk to another mom to talk through something or talk to another parent to talk through something, but 99% of the time I will intuitively lead my children, as in I connect to my soul and figure out, hey, what does my kid actually need, right? Like, let's quiet all the outside noise, all the other distractions, all the millions of other moms that are telling you all these other things, right? Like, I had to heal the guilt, the mom guilt, healed that. No mom guilt over here whatsoever, right? Had to heal that in order to be the mom that I really wanted to be. Because there was a time in my life where I was exhausted every night, didn't want to be mom, and I thought, there has to be more than this. I cannot keep doing this. This is insanity. I don't want any part of this. If this is what motherhood is, I don't want it. And so I had to rewrite my own rules for motherhood. And I think I'm doing a pretty good job. There are days where I'm still human. Like yesterday when at the dinner table, it felt like everybody was fussing about the dinner that I had made. And I finally stopped and I said, enough. I said, unless you have something nice to say to mom in regards to dinner, we're done discussing it. And they were like, oh shit, okay. Right? It was just, usually I don't take things personal when it comes to dinner. Like, my kids have all their own flavors, it's fine. But like, it just felt like everything out of their mouth was like, oh, this is what we're having for dinner. Oh, that's what we're having for dinner. Oh, I don't want this for dinner, right? And I was like, we're done. Nope, done. Like, done. But nevertheless, right, let's dive into the meat of today's topic. And that is, I asked my children to give me advice or to give me feedback on how I was doing as a mom. And maybe you're thinking, holy shit, Steph, why on earth would you ask your kids how you were doing as a mom, right? Like, why? First off, you're the parent, right? And you know better. And secondly, like, are you prepared to cry because of the things that your children are going to tell you that you're doing wrong? And none of that was coming through for me. I was like, you know what? Now that my son is off at college, yes, he's been there for not even a month yet, but I was like, you know what? I want to know, like, what did I do well? What did I not do well? Like, what can I do differently, right? And if you've listened to my podcast long enough, you know that those are the three anchoring questions that I use for almost everything to look at it objectively. So what worked, what didn't work, and what can I do differently? And so I asked my older two kids, my 18-year-old and my 15-year-old, what do I do great as a mom? And what could I do better as a mom? And I also added the caveat of, you're not going to get punished for it. You're not going to get in trouble. I'm not going to sit in the corner and, hang out in the fetal position and like bawl hysterically for days. Like I really, like, I want to know, like, how am I doing as a mom? And I have these conversations with my husband as well, like checking in, like, how am I doing as a wife? Is there anything I can change, anything that can shift? Because again, if it's not in my perspective, if it's not something I'm focused on, I don't know. I don't know what I'm missing because it's a blind spot. So I asked my kids, and I asked my 15-year-old, she was sitting on the couch next to me. So sorry, hold on, water break. Asked my 15-year-old, she was sitting next to me. She was a little hesitant to respond, partly because I kind of blindsided her by the question. And I said, honey, what are 3 things that I do great as a mom, and like 3 things that I could work on? And so she said, well, things that you do great as a mom, like you support me in soccer, you help me with my mindset, and you're always there for me. And I was like, oh, cool. I was like, perfect. I love that. I said, is there anything I could work on? And she was like, no, I don't think so. I said, okay, think about it, come up with something else, right? Like if there is something. And so I texted my son. He was on his bus ride on the way to a golf tournament. And I said, hey, honey, could you answer these 3 questions for me? Like no strings attached, just really want to know. And he said, one thing that you're really great, like you did really great, was like you did incredible for us as a family of 6. Like it's amazing what you're able to do for a family of 6. And then the second one, I kind of want to pull it up. I think I'm going to pull it up. Let me see if I can pull it up on my text messages. There are a lot of text messages back and forth recently, so let's do a little scrolly poo here. All right, so here we go. We're getting close. We're getting close. I see it. Okay, so he said, you set me up to be able to be by myself. You were always there for me when I was in a bad spot, and that you gave so much to us as a family of 6. So those were the top 3, right? And the things that I could have worked on, which I chuckled a little bit when he sent these, was you should have grounded me the whole summer so that I wouldn't have to leave and had to spend more time with you all, which was really cute. And he said, and that unstuffed peppers recipe, Mom, just throw it away. It's not great. I don't love it. And then he said, I wish that you and I had some more personal talks. And I was like, okay, this is great, right? Like, I didn't realize that was something that you wanted from me. But I said, cool, let's set up a time where weekly we're having more of those personal chats with each other, right? And so for me, this was actually really great feedback, not because I felt like I was failing as a mom, but I just kind of wanted like a temperature gauge. Like I wanted to know where I was at and what I could be doing better. Now, I haven't asked the younger 2 these questions because I don't know that they will necessarily understand how to respond to them. My 10-year-old probably would. I don't know that my 8-year-old would. Things that I could work on would probably be like take me shopping more kind of thing. But maybe I should. Maybe I think I'm going to. I'll just field the question and see how it goes from there. But this is part of the way that I parent. I know that there's going to be stuff that I screw up because what I have learned is that, one, being a college professor, I know that the things that were harped on me from my professors. So the way I was taught is oftentimes the way that I teach. And so the things that I got graded on when I was in college are often the things that I grade my students on, because that's what I know, that's what was shown to me. And the same is true in our parenting, right? Like, we oftentimes mimic the way that we were parented in our own parenting, and we don't always stop and give ourselves a chance to go, you know what? I actually don't love the way that this is going because I didn't love it as a kid. So how can I do this differently? We often don't stop long enough to actually decide what kind of a mom we want to be. And then, 18 years goes by and you're like, holy crap, my kid's in college now, he's out of the house. Did I do a good job? Right? And again, oftentimes it does take courage to ask that question of your kids, for sure. And your kids might be taken aback by it as well. Like, if you have the courage to have that conversation with your kids, they might be a little concerned that like something's wrong with you. They're like, wait, I actually have an input on how I'm being parented, right? Like, to me, I believe it's a team effort. Yes, I am the adult and I have a bit more experience than them, but I also don't know all that's getting through to them, right? Like, they have their own filter, their own lens in which they're seeing the world, and I want to make sure that I'm doing the best by them, which is why it was very important for me when they were younger to figure out what their love languages were, because I wanted to make sure that they were feeling loved. And if I didn't know what their love language was, I was showing them love the way that I receive love, and there's a disconnect. If you've ever done any of the love languages work, I do recommend that you do it for your partner, for sure, but also with your kids. It is a great resource to know how your children are receiving love, because the way that we receive love is often the way that we also give love. But if you are, let's say, one of the 5 love languages is words of affirmation. Okay. If you receive love through words of affirmation, that's often how you're going to give love. But if you're giving love through words of affirmation, but your partner is actually a quality time, they're never going to feel loved, because you're over here spouting out all these words of affirmation where they just want you to sit on the couch and watch TV with them. And so you've got to know how your children and your partner receive love so that you can show up that best way. So that is a free quiz that you can take on 5 love languages, whatever. Do a Google search of that and you can find that quiz. Do recommend doing that. But one thing that's interesting is my children's love language has actually changed over the years. When they're babies, their love language is oftentimes physical touch. It is just what it is, right? Like, you can whisper words of affirmation to an infant all night long, but they don't care. They want to be held, right? So it does shift a little bit as they get older, right? And so for me, I know my oldest is words of affirmation. My oldest daughter is gifts. My second daughter, my 10-year-old, she is acts of services. And then my youngest is actually quality time. They all trickle in there sometimes with a little bit of physical touch. You can be multiple ones at the same times, but there's usually a dominant one. And so it is important to know that in order to be the best mom, right, that you can be. So I do encourage you to, one, right, first off, it would be really cool if you asked yourself the question of, what kind of a mom do I really want to be? I am going to actually dive deeper into this in Motherhood Manifesto. That's going to be one of the core things that we talk about, like giving yourself permission to be the mom that you really want to be. But in order to do that, you've got to know what kind of mom you want to be. And if you have the courage to ask your kids these questions, like, how can I support you better as a mom? That would be really cool. Like, I might not have known how to answer that question when I was 18, but to just know that my mother had been willing to see things differently or do things differently for me probably would have changed, like, my attitude towards her, right? Not that I didn't love my mother, but, teenage angst, and we tend to be pretty nasty to our parents at some point, right? Just happens. But it was a good conversation to have with my kids, because it allowed them to give me input, right? Like, hey, mom, maybe don't ever make that recipe for me again, right? Like, all right, noted. So I texted him back and I was like, listen, I know you don't love it, but I like it. It's easy and it will stay as part of my menu. So, all right. Well, I'm signing off here. I hope that you have an incredible rest of your day. And as always, be you, because the world needs more of you. Bye.